steel one. Yeah. Which is that with the tank?
Yeah. The ding on that is solid.
Dead center. Get a little high on that one. Dead center.
We spent some serious time shooting the Primal, which I felt was necessary so we could accurately report to you guys how it's going to work and sound on all different calibers and platforms. Because if you're going to buy a can like this, I want you to know what it's really like. And a huge thanks goes out to Silencer Shop for sponsoring today's video, and be sure to stay up to date with Silencer Shop here on YouTube and on all their social media platforms as they work through the e-file Form 4s. Hopefully that will be greatly speeding up the silencer purchasing process, and Silencer Shop is going to keep it easy for everybody. I often get asked by new suppressor owners why they can't run 308 through their 9mm can, and why they can't run 9mm through their 308 can. These two scenarios illustrate the limiting factors built into the design of most silencers: build strength and bore size. When a silencer is designed, the designers set out with the goal in mind. Not all 9mm cans are designed with the strength to hold up with the pressures of 308 or other rifle cartridges. Also, a 30 caliber rifle can doesn't have the bore size capable of passing a 9mm roughly 36 caliber through it. So what happens when you design a can built to withstand the pressures of .338 Lapua Magnum, one of the most powerful rifle calibers, and give it a 46 caliber bore, meaning just about anything short of 50 cal can go through it? Well, now you have a silencer that almost any caliber can work with. The Dead Air Primal is rated for everything from a diameter smaller than 46 caliber and up to .338 Lapua Magnum on the pressure scale, excluding 22 long rifle because the Primal isn't serviceable and you absolutely need to clean anything 22 long rifle is run through. And by the way, we did run it on a .338 Lapua Magnum. So that is basically anything you could ever come up with: 9mm, 45 ACP, 4570, 300 Blackout, 5.56, 7.62x39, 6.5 Creedmoor 308, 338 Lapua Magnum, and the list just keeps going. Basically, if it's smaller than 46 caliber and doesn't exceed the pressures of a 338 Lapua Magnum, the Primal can suppress it. Now, the one catch is when you have these kind of one-answer cans, they can't do everything really well. If they did, there would be no use for all the other silencers available. So we are really going to break the Primal down and talk about what sounds great through it, what sounds good through it, and what sounds okay. We're also going to talk about exactly who I think the silencer is for and who I think would get the most out of it. Since the Primal is rated up to .338 Lapua Magnum, it is large, just like all .338 Lapua Magnum cans. The Primal is 7.9 inches long, weighs in at 16.4 ounces, with a diameter of 1.6 inches. Now that's actually a pretty good weight given its size and the fact that it is constructed out of stainless steel. Also, while the Primal isn't crazy big, it is large on pistols, or if you wanted a compact silencer to run on a carbine, it is a little bit big for that. However, the Primal is capable of doing both of those and so many more. You can't really talk about the Primal without bringing up the massive versatility of mounting options. I keep all my suppressor parts in these little bins, and everything that you see here will work with the Primal. The Primal has rear 1 3/8 by 24 threads, sometimes referred to as the universal thread or the hub, and a lot of cans have that today, but the Primal being rated for pretty much anything means you can actually use all of these parts, and all of the guns they represent will work with the Primal. This is the hub to P-Series adapter that ships with the Primal. It will take your standard hub threads down to the same thread pattern as the Dead Air Ghost, allowing you to use all of the Ghost mounts with the Primal for any of your pistols and subguns. That means on the rifle side, you can use the Dead Air Chemo, the Dead Air Xeno, Q Cherry Bomb, Area 419 Hellfire, Silencer Co. ASR, Direct Thread, and on the pistol side, you can use booster assemblies with pistons, the Key Micro System, 3 lugs, Direct Thread, and basically it just keeps on going. Almost any mount you can buy in some way will be compatible with the Primal, which also means virtually any gun you could come up with is compatible with the Primal. So I think the Primal makes the most sense for a few specific shooters, and let's see if you may fall into one of these categories. First category, the gateway drug. First-time suppressor buyer who isn't sure this whole silencer thing is going to be for you, and this may surprise you, but my first can ever was a do-all type silencer similar to the Primal. At one point, I really thought I would get a do-all can and a dedicated 22 silencer, and those were the only 2 silencers I would ever need. Many years later, and many silencers later, I was of course wrong. And I think many people who do this are making a bad assumption, but I do understand it. Just know that you will more than likely buy more silencers, and the Primal is just a gateway drug. But it will let you suppress everything and see what you really like, and that is at least how it worked for me. Second category is what I'm going to call the guy on the budget. This guy, for financial reasons, which I also totally understand, wants to have suppressed weapons and silencers, but needs to keep that number down to a minimum. When I think about how much money I've spent over the years in just tax stamps alone, I throw up a little bit in the back of my throat. If money is no object, dedicated cans for almost every caliber will typically perform better than the Primal. However, the Primal will do them all, do many of them very well, and do them all for one tax stamp. The third guy I think the Primal would be great for, in my opinion, is what I would call the outlier. And what I mean by that is this is the guy who has a pretty good gun collection and even has a few silencers. However, in his gun collection, he has a few calibers that he can't suppress with his current cans. Maybe he has a .45 pistol, 458 SOCOM, or even a 338 Lapua Magnum. One can that could take care of all those oddball outline calibers in his collection would be a great silencer to add to his lineup, and the Primal fits that bill perfectly, and would be able to serve as an additional can for any caliber on a trip to the range. Because of all the calibers, I know no matter how many I do, someone will still be unhappy because I left theirs out. There will be no sound test in this video. I listen to a lot of silencers, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you can expect from the Primal. This is also a question that I want to ask you guys. Do you really get anything out of the sound tests that we do in the silencer videos? It takes a surprising amount of work, and I still feel sometimes they don't come out that well. Just want to know if you get something from it, or am I basically wasting my time and me giving you an honest opinion of the sound good enough? Let me know in the comments. Let's talk about what sounds good and maybe where the Primal doesn't do quite as well. But keep in mind, on a can that does so much, it's really designed to be a jack of all trades. And remember, the whole saying goes, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. Let's start with 9mm. The Primal actually sounds great on 9mm, supers or subs, pistols or PCCs. I was kind of worried that it wouldn't perform well on 9mm, but it actually surprised me. I would say that 45 ACP is the same. The Primal sounds great. 300 Blackout actually sounds very good too, as does 4570. Where I feel the Primal may fall off in performance a little is smaller bore rifle cartridges. 5.56 doesn't suppress real well with anything, but the 46 caliber bore on the Primal does not help. I'd also like to say that 6.5 Creedmoor kind of falls into that smaller bore rifle cartridge section too. Now I will say that we just kept the 46 caliber bore end cap on throughout the video, but Dead Air does make caliber specific end caps, and that may help with this to a degree. As the bore size goes up and you get to 308 or larger, I think the Primal comes back to doing a good job of suppression. I also like it for big bore calibers and felt it did fairly well on 338 Lapua Magnum. When we shot 338 Lapua Magnum, the Dead Air mounts for that caliber weren't available yet. I checked when I was putting this video together and they are available now. We had to use a Silencer Co. ASR, which shows the great versatility of the Primal. However, I haven't always had the best of luck with the ASR, so my butt was all puckered up for the few shots of 338 Lapua Magnum, but good news, the ASR held tight and didn't get carbon locked for the 5 shots. The 338, that's pretty good.
That's pretty darn good.
I mean, I'd be happy. I'd be happy with it. I also felt like the Primal did fairly well, probably right at the verge of hearing safe, which is about the most you can get out of the majority of 338 cans.
That's pretty darn good.
The Primal does a whole lot right and fits the bill for many silencer owners. Is it for everyone? Definitely not, but it is so versatile that a lot of people will find a use for it in their collection. It suppresses a lot of calibers very well and does the rest well enough that I think almost any shooter would be extremely impressed with this can as a whole. You get a ton of versatility, a ton of mounting options, and the ability to suppress almost anything for just one tack stamp. The best way to sum it all up is the Primal is a jack of all trades and a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to check out Silencer Shop for all of your silencer needs. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We have some really big reviews in the works that you won't want to miss. If you want to know what those reviews are way before they hit the YouTube channel, check us out on Instagram and Facebook, and there you can see what's being reviewed in real time. If you like what you see here on Alabama Arsenal and want to help support the channel, the best possible way to do that is through Patreon. These videos can be surprisingly expensive to make, and every little bit helps and is greatly appreciated. There's also Alabama Arsenal gear available right below the video if you want to go out and represent. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, that ain't no 45. That's hilarious.